Yes. What is up? This is Last Call Reacts. I try to drop something once a week. Just what's going on in the news, and isn't there so much going on in the news? What a difference a week makes, what's a difference a day makes, a month makes, just a bunch of crazy events. And of course, so many people, so many channels are, obviously talking about a lot of the violence that has been happening around, especially the one particular character, Charlie Kirk, who I go back and forth debating if I should do anything with that, or some of the some of the events that happen around this, like the school's attempts one day and the day before that. There was one actually, a mass one the day of, one a few days after as well. But I am here to talk to you about, I almost feel like, where is it? I almost feel like I gotta do one of these in here, man.
Back at the show.
I really feel like it's gotta be like, meanwhile, what is happening now? So, I just want this to be about a 10-15 minute video, basically, but check out the name. Last one I did about the train offing of the unhealthy mental person who offed the Ukrainian refugee there. And just by then would be the offing of that one Charlie Kirk, which would shift the news and the narrative, even though the narrative is still on, even though they got the guy, they still want it to be something else. And for some reason, their image can't be erased, of who they think the real perpetrators are behind that, even though the family came off as being a staunch. I'm talking about the Robinson family, staunch righties. But that's neither here or there. In a time like this, a lot of things get overshadowed as well. I'm not sure what I believe at the end of this, but here's a case, like I labeled that, the IR situation. Well, here's another situation, and the supposed, the person that we're focusing in on is Demartravion Reed, otherwise known as Trey, which I think I'll be calling him throughout this as well. But first of all, don't let me ruin it for you. If somebody else could step in, take in what you're supposed to, and then we'll talk about it. Just a couple minutes. Bear with me, folks.
And now to news developing out of Mississippi, where a coroner's office is maintaining that there is no evidence a young black man was attacked before he was found dead on the Delta State University campus.
Now Trey Reed's family is ordering an independent autopsy. Now, a warning, some of you may find this story triggering. The 21-year-old was found hanging from a tree on campus Monday morning. The coroner says a preliminary exam shows no signs of broken bones or assault. But Reed's mother told local reporters that she questions what happened to her son. She says she spoke to her son Friday, and he was excited to attend the university. The family says the school has not reached out to them.
Fair use, by the way. Just some of the components. There's a little bit more to read now. And I'm going to, well, before doing that, I want to show another bit of a video before this. But this is very weird for a couple reasons, and a couple reasons which I'm going to leave. Fair use for all the news, Chicago news.
And they're getting information secondhand from the media.
As we move forward, we're just looking for answers that a simple camera on the university's campus will answer.
We are so concerned about what's going on. We're getting mixed information. We're hearing everything on the media. So we just want the truth. That's all we're looking for.
Reed was a first-year student and had only been on campus for 1 month when he was found dead. Authorities initially ruling this as suicide. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump is leading an investigation into Reed's death, though. He says,
which a lot of people complain. They think he's after the cash grab. But get somebody else then. If you guys don't like this guy. what can you do?
Trey Reed was deeply loved and respected by those who knew him, and added, Reed's family and the campus community deserve a full independent investigation to uncover the truth about what happened. We cannot accept vague conclusions when so many questions remain. The NAACP posted an image saying a man was lynched yesterday in a post about Trey Reed. The organization expressed skepticism that there was no evidence of foul play in Reed's death and wrote, our people have not historically hung ourselves from trees.
That is one heck of a thing to say.
21-year-old Trey Reed, a black student, was discovered by staff members on Monday morning. Authorities quickly ruling out foul play, and during a press conference today, the university president insisting that race relations are not an issue at the university.
I can say that my heartbreak is comprehensive, not just for Trey, although it is primarily for Trey, but for the fact that the rest of the world has an impression of Delta State that is so at odds with what I know to be this institution. This institution should not be associated with hate or hate crimes.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, now representing Reed's family, demanding more transparency. The family saying we cannot accept vague conclusions when so many questions remain. Let's bring in our Ike Ajachi. So, Ike, what are we learning from police today? And are they still continuing to rule out foul play?
Yeah, Kira, several different agencies surrounding this investigation are saying just that. The Delta State University police chief, he's come out and said that there is no indication of foul play surrounding this incident. He also said that there is no ongoing threat to staff or faculty. Now, if you also look at what the Bolivar County Coroner's Office is saying, it's also falling in line with that. They're saying through a preliminary examination that there are...
All right, they got an update here. I'm just going to move it up. Fair use. Help me out, news.
Deep frustration, and they are demanding transparency surrounding this investigation.
All right,
right now, through their attorney, Vanessa Jones, they have announced that they are conducting their own independent autopsy, and they're even conducting their own investigation around this. They are demanding answers. They're saying that are...
So I want to remind you guys, I've been rocking with me since day one. We covered a few things, right? We went through the documentary, and we had some discussions on Kendrick Johnson. Right? Remember that? The high school student that was found in the mat and still have no answers to this day. Right? We discussed a few other things here with cases, the exonerated 5 and others. On top of just displaying some of those documentaries, we've had some really good discussions that generated from that. That keep us like-minded together, that raise those questions and really get into the answers. So on top of all the silly stuff that we do, we do some things that we're very passionate about. Of course, some of us having kids, or just being in the field ourselves, whether academic or being in these actual professions that we speak about and have some of our trade in. So, one of the things, you know what? I'm just going to keep this up here because I have an article right about here. So I'm just going to skip through some of the details that it didn't really touch on, and one of the parts did. So the couple of things I'd have mentioned. This guy, Trey, 21, very strange because, school just started. You got about a month on campus for something like this to happen. Again, as I scoot down here, and the few things that I do know about this case, and they did the investigation, but we want to remember they've done these investigations, as I'm saying, with all these people and just the craziness that's gone around that Kendrick Johnson. So we know we just might not be able to trust the initial so-called investigation or the so-called autopsy before we do that. So very good on the family to go ahead and get that independent one. So one of the things that we want to note, which is very interesting, that this is Mississippi. What else happened in Mississippi 1955 over there? Apparently, it's about 55 miles away from, and this article was very notable in wanting to show this point over here. So says where he was is about 50 miles from the Tallahatchie River. What is the Tallahatchie River? In 1955, authorities discovered the mutilated body of one Emmett Till, 14 years old, black child. So for things to be happening like this around that means something to a lot of these people, they're saying. All right. Now, Enos, who is said the school that canceled classes on Monday has received death threats and all sorts of threats in the cause of Reed's death. They don't say particularly who, but I think the threats, it's oddly worded. That threats are coming, that something better be done to protect the students. Threats, I think it's poorly worded like that. That's what it is. But they have heightened security on the campus over there as well, and recognizes that the people, meaning the black people, the students, have come there for an education, and they go there for a safe place to learn, and that is the mission. So one of the things he also says, it indicates no foul play, which a lot of people are saying is very weird. Even the NAACP with a very strong message at the end of that, and I'll scoot that down to that in the history of all the lynchings, it'll be not recorded that not one of those lynchings were self-inflicted or did it to themselves, right? President here also goes on to say, this is the Enos. He's the president here, who also says he recognizes it's not only about the facts, it's about emotions and about the feelings, and the loss of how it was discovered affects people's lives. And further, he'll admit, that is the guy there, that he'll admit he's not adequate to speak to the imagery that this incident raises. He acknowledges, he says, I'm still in the quote, I acknowledge my weakness in that regard. So he says it's very sensitive. So maybe there is hope that a good investigation, but I too am waiting for the other one to see what this entails. Obviously, I'm very interested for the whole thing and what this means at a time like this, right? At a time like this, with you have your buddy Charlie Kirk over there, you have all the evidence over there. You have the person that did it, but still, that's not good enough. This is very strange times. And if this is anything retaliation, I'm sorry, messing up my words over here. What now? You know, how do we go back and forth with this? But if we look at it back in the time before, there's always exceptions to the cases. Nobody, not one of, no black citizen has taken out high-ranking members in a Manchurian Candidate type style over here. You know, if you go back of what this guy Kirk was saying, you know, just no unification, victim blaming, and just blaming in general, and hate and division. I don't cheer on anybody's death, but it's you know, no sweat off my brow with this guy, because he wasn't doing anything good here. And I guess I'll do more of that on my show, which is Friday night at 9 p.m. Come see me. This is Last Call Reacts. Hope you got a little something. Let me know how you feel about things in the comments. Do me a favor, man. Like, share, subscribe, stick around. Hit me in a live. Appreciate you.